I just completed one of the hardest things that I've ever done, and I learned a lot that I think can help you in your entrepreneurial experience. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, Leon Castillo here, CEO and founder of Selfmastered, which is a company that specializes in peak cognitive performance for entrepreneurs and business leaders. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing because we release a few juicy videos every week to help you crush it with your business or in your career. So today I want to discuss something that has been incredibly powerful as an experience and have taught me a lot about what performance actually is and how does it apply to the entrepreneurial experience. So I just completed the Way of St. James, which is a pilgrimage, a Christian pilgrimage that leads to the tomb, to the shrine of the St. James, which is one of the Christ's apostles. And this is a network of roads that cover whole Europe. And I decided to do the original road, which goes from Oviedo, which is the capital of Asturias, a region in North Spain, to Santiago. About 335 kilometers, which I covered in 11 days. That's about 220 miles that I did 20 miles every single day. And I believe I have learned a lot about myself and about performance. And today I want to share with you what are the 5 tenets that I believe you need to keep front and center in your mind if you want to over time become a top performer. So, first thing that we need to do when trying to achieve something difficult, something hard, something that's actually outside of the current limit of our abilities is to narrow focus. And this is so important because most people love to boil oceans, love to take too much time to do too many things. So in the end, they do not drive effective progress across anything meaningful. So the first step, it's always to narrow focus. And during the Way of St. James, this was the first thing really that I had to choose, because when I was about to start the Way of St. James, I was approached by a newspaper here in Spain to write like an article to be published right after I came back. So in my mind, there was a possibility of walking 32 kilometers per day, and then in the evening or at night, devote time to writing. But thank God I'd said no to that, because if I had not narrowed my focus and only focused on surviving the road, I would have done a very poor job if I had tried to write the article at the same time that I was walking the Camino. So that's number one, narrow focus. When you narrow focus enough, then you get to 2, increase the intensity. When you only have one thing to do, you need to increase the intensity. You need to give it all out. You cannot half-ass any effort. You need to go very hard, because when you push hard enough, you go past the activation phase and you start stretching the limits of your abilities, of your skill set, of your character, of your mental models, right? So narrow focus and then really go very intense to whatever it is you're trying to achieve. In my case, during the Way of St. James, the only thing I could think about was surviving the road. I had blisters and injuries in my feet from day one, because I normally do not walk 32 kilometers in about 6, 7, or 8 hours. So I had blisters all over my feet. I had trouble walking. And once I get to the hostel in the end, because you don't really have hotels here, you have hostels, the only thing I could think of was healing myself, taking care of myself. So my focus was survival, and I was intensely focused on making sure that the goal, which was get to Santiago in time, was achieved. Because normally people do not take 11 days to achieve this. They take 13 or 14. So we were pushing harder than the average person. Which leads me to tenet number 3, which is increase your standards. So today, best performance has to be the minimum performance tomorrow. That's how you become better every time. If you have data to actually gauge your progress and understand how well you're performing, then use it to solidify performance improvements over time. That's how you become inevitable. That's how you get to your goals, because you're constantly becoming better and creating compounding growth from your efforts. In the way of St. James, in my case, it was how can I walk faster than I walked yesterday? How can I get to the first pit stop in the day with sensation of tiredness? Is it, can I just hydrate myself better? Can I eat differently? Can I use a cap to protect me from the sun? What can I do so that I do not suffer as much during the day, right? So that's number 3. Really up your standards day by day, week on week. Work on becoming the best self every day. Which leads me to number 4, momentum. Take care of momentum, protect momentum. Never curtail the momentum, the positive inertia that you're building. It is very easy to check some random news site or some social media when you are trying to deep focus. Very easy to just stop in a small village and drink a beer just to refresh yourself when you have only covered 5, 8, or 10 kilometers and you still have 20 kilometers to go in my case. I never did that because I understood that I was suffering by walking every day, and if I'd stop, it would be so difficult to start again. So I minimized any interruption, any distraction, and I really kept the momentum up. And over time, as day passes, my injuries went down. I had fewer blisters, and I was able to sustain a higher rhythm and walk faster. So when the prime moment of the trip came, it was the last day in which I covered 40 kilometers, about 30 or 32 miles, I was ready because I had been walking 10 days, an average of 30 kilometers, 32 kilometers, and I had all the training. I have not break the chain. I was ready. And this applies to your entrepreneurial experience. So if you are having great weeks or great days, do not compromise them. Don't get wasted on the weekends. Don't check whatever social media or Twitter or whatever during an intense deep work session. Really sustain high performance and sustain the positive inertia and momentum that comes with it. And finally, the 5th, this is so important. Update your mental models. You will never achieve anything you do not believe is possible. And this is probably the single best predictor of entrepreneurial success. Every time we coach somebody, the first thing we look at is the scope of their possibilities, what they think they can achieve, how able or willing they are to review their belief systems and create a new possibility in their minds. And I have a very good story about this because this was incredible for me to see it in action with myself in the way of St. James. So picture this. I've been walking for 9 days at this point. I am in Lugo, which is a city in Galicia in the north of Spain, which is 100 kilometers away of Santiago, of our destination. So I've been walking 9 days. I have blisters all over my feet. I'm extremely tired, and I have been sustaining 4.5 kilometers per hour rhythm. I have 10 kilos in my bag, so obviously I need to carry everything, like all the tent and everything that I sleep in with me, all my clothes and stuff. So that's 10 kilos. So I've been doing 4 to 4.5 kilometers per hour for 9 days. And when I get to Lugo, I met a guy. He is about 60, 65 years old. And he tells me that he has covered 60 kilometers that day. So twice the number of kilometers that I was covering myself. Twice. And he's double my age. So what's going on here? Well, he was obviously better trained. He didn't carry much weight. And he woke up at 4 a.m., started walking at 5 a.m. until 3 p.m. So that's 10 hours. I met him at 3:30 p.m. And if you make the average, he was doing at 6 kilometers per hour. That's impressive. That's like 4 miles an hour. That's very fast. And that's when I understood that I was limiting myself. I could not believe that it was possible to walk that fast. I've never tried. So the next day, I decided to start walking at 6 kilometers per hour. And you bet, we did it. We started progressing much faster. And in the end, in the same amount of time, in 7 hours, which is what we did on the first day, and we did in the last day, In the first day of the trip or the pilgrimage, we did 30 kilometers in 7 hours. In the last day, we did 40 kilometers in 7 hours. So by updating my mental models, by sustaining my momentum, by only being super focused on finishing the pilgrimage healthy and alive, by refining my standards, I had to become better day after day. My performance at the end of the pilgrimage was incredible. 40 kilometers, about 32 miles in one day, walking with blisters and injuries and stuff. So this to me is obviously related to the entrepreneurial experience. Remember that Elon Musk said that entrepreneurship is like chewing glass while staring to the abyss. It is difficult, it is painful, but it's highly meaningful if you pull it off. But how can we ensure that the odds of success are higher than average? Well, by keeping these 5 principles. Narrow focus, only do what you need to do. Refine your intensity, up your intensity. Really go all in, all out, and then, of course, up your standards. Be better than you were yesterday every single day. Make the conscious effort and track yourself. Use data to become better every day. Then, 4th, sustain momentum. This is a race, so make sure that you sustain momentum. Don't break the chain and keep it up. And finally, of course, update your mental models. Make sure that you believe you can do it. Because if you believe and you put all the necessary effort to make it possible, you may certainly have a shot. And if I covered 335 kilometers, about 220 miles in 11 days, I am sure you can do it too, and you can achieve whatever goal you set for yourself. So I hope this was useful. Please let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, retweet, do everything you guys know you need to do so we can keep creating videos to help people like you. And of course, if you want to become a top performer, come into our community and really get to that next level with a plan that actually works and using data in our dashboard, just book a call with me. Let's see if we can help you, and if so, we'll be delighted to bring you on board. See ya.